Great, then I will call the meeting to order and start off with a roll call of attendees. Roger,
I am here.
Andy,
I am here as well.
TJ,
Present.
I'm here, Steve's here. Andrea, I know, is not going to be here today, and I think that, well, hopefully Eli will be joining us shortly. So next on the agenda was the meetings, and then we have two candidates for our open slot, so we want to get to them pretty quickly. So Steve sent out the minutes. We have a chance to take a look at those. We have a motion
Move to accept the minutes.
All right.
Second.
Great. So we'll do a roll call vote there. Roger,
Yes.
Andy, TJ,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right. So welcome to, we've got two people who have expressed interest in our joining our committee in the open slot from Kevin resigning. So we first contacted through Eli to Jamie, not James. Just want to make sure you've.
Yeah, either's fine. I go by Jamie for most people. But
Right, Jamie Simmons, and then Andy had let us know that Keith Murphy was also interested in the position. So I invited them both to come to the meeting and talk to us, and just sent them a couple of kind of questions to try to just frame our discussion here. But I emphasized that it was very casual, and we really just wanted to get to know them. So I talked to them, asked them to come and talk to us about their connection to the waterways and the skills that they would bring to the committee and the challenges they saw us face, that the harbor faces, and any questions that they had for us. So,
and Dan, if I could interrupt 1 second, and you went over with them that we don't actually take a vote or anything along those lines. That we just we're here to advise and consent only. And basically, the town select board is the appointing body. So the names get submitted no matter what up there. And if obviously there's any questions, then they can come back to us and ask us if we met with everybody and talked to them. So we're not the appointing body. It's the select board. It's the appointing body. We're just people who just like to get to know people and figure out if we can answer any questions as to what we do.
Right, exactly right. But with the caveat, we can make recommendations to the select board for our interview with each of the clients or customers that we're interviewing today.
Right. Thank you both for clarifying that. So maybe we could just start with Jamie. You were the first name that we received. You want to just kind of introduce yourself and.
Yeah, absolutely. Eli reached out and gauged my interest of joining the group here with an opening coming up. Just give you a little background about myself. I grew up in Dartmouth my whole life, and my family. I grew up on the water. I was blessed enough to grow up on the water with my family. My family's always been involved, whether it be commercial fishing or sailing or motorboating, whatever it may be. My family members work at the yacht club as manager. People in the family run for harbor master. So, family roots as far back in New Bedford, even in the whaling days. So we've been here for a long time. I currently work in the marine industry in New Bedford. So I'm well invested in the ocean, in the marine areas. I have a lobster boat in the harbor and routinely out there. I might use the harbor more than most people. Most people know me down there along the waterways, but I'm usually out there every weekend, whether it be fishing or with my family cruising the islands, and do a bit of cruising around New England and outside of New England around the world. So I think I bring a pretty good background in terms of whatever the use may be, whether it's fishing or hunting or cruising as a transient or using the facilities around the harbor, whether it be the boat ramps or moorings. I think I have a pretty good background as I've done almost every activity possible, even water sports or shell fishing. I have a pretty good understanding of the uses of the harbor and how people want to utilize that resource. And obviously there's competing areas there as well. But I think I bring a pretty good background of my use and my upbringing in the area, and then going to other harbors and seeing how other people operate. And I think that will be helpful as well for the way the harbor moves forward in the future.
Any thoughts on any of the challenges that we're facing, or any questions for our committee?
Yeah, I mean, I think with any harbor, there's certainly challenges. Every harbor is a little different. The things that come to my mind, I would say, I think as a transient boater, we certainly have some areas that we could work on compared to some other facilities and harbors that I've used. We certainly could make some changes there that would make it easier for people coming to visit our harbor. I think we could certainly improve there. I also think we've done some really great stuff in terms of the facilities and the improvements we've seen in the harbor. It's really nice to see, especially the new marina and the dock facility. It's great. I mean, I think everyone in the town is going to be super happy with that and the way that that's going. I also think we could still make some more improvements down the road. Maybe just improving people's access to the water, whether it's people that actually are active boaters or other town residents that might not be actively boating. I think it's important to think of those people as well, whether it be a fishing pier or people walking along the bridge that want to get more access along the harbor. I think is important. And then also when it comes to like environmental stuff, I think there's some areas of concern there too. I know spending a lot of time in the harbor, I think we could certainly work on the water flushing. We have some concerns about water quality for shellfishing. I think there's some areas that we can look at too that could improve of getting that harbor flushed out a little bit better, and some sediment buildup as well for dredging and stuff like that could be looked at as well.
Thanks. And how about you, Keith? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was talking with Andy recently, and he mentioned that Kevin Murphy had stepped down. Our names are similar, and Kevin actually is my uncle as well. We're not all that close. I didn't realize he had stepped down from the committee, but yeah, mentioned to Andy that if there was a spot open, maybe interested in doing it. I don't know Jamie personally, but I know of Jamie's family certainly. I think so. Between either one of us, really good, folks, lifelong residents here. So good choice either way. Grew up in town as well. I currently live off of Elm Street in the Wilson Street neighborhood next to Shipyard Lane. So our neighborhood, for the most part, abuts the harbor. Our street dead ends to the harbor. Have a little sailboat, Marshall catboat that I use in the harbor. Grew up sailing, worked at the yacht club for a number of years. Go to Anthony's Beach and go to Round Hill and do a lot of the walking paths and stuff. So one of the questions I did have, which will help direct my questions, is what is the scope of the Waterways Committee? Is it all waterways in Dartmouth, or is it just the harbor?
All waterways.
All waterways, okay.
Not all tidal waterways. We have nothing to do with Nookchoke or.
Right. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yeah.
It's going to
Tidal.
be a tidal waterway.
No, okay, thank you, Steve. So tidal waterways, which I think Dartmouth, it's so interesting to me. I've tried to research it, but what do we have? 80 miles, over 80 miles of, which has got to be one of the largest in the state. So I think in Dartmouth we have such a unique waterways system in the harbor, in the various rivers, in all the salt marshes and things like that. So I think we're so fortunate to have such a diverse waterways. And for me, a big priority for me is access for people. How do people access all of our different waterways for recreation, going to the beach, for boating? As a small boat owner who keeps their boat north of the bridge, access to me, it's difficult there's really no access south of the bridge. So it becomes very inconvenient very quickly if you're not a member of the yacht club or use one of the private marinas. So I find that becomes a very problematic, not problematic, but very inconvenient way to operate in the harbors if the restricted access south of the bridge. But I also realize there's all sorts of land limitations there. But to me, I think the new pier system is amazing. Kudos to all of you for working on that. That is, increases access. It looks great. I've used the dock a little bit there. Professionally, I work for a healthcare company out of Boston. I'm in charge of strategy development for the organization, as well as kind of deploying that strategy, building consensus, managing plans and stuff like that. So I have a lot of experience with strategic planning and then setting up projects to execute on the strategic plans, which I find in any volunteer committee work that I do, that's always a blessing and a curse. It's always very helpful to have that background, but then committees, and I was a president of my church for a while. You realize that not all these things operate like businesses either, and you have volunteers, and we're all volunteering our time, but have that background as well. Yeah, just into my children are in college now, so I have more time on my hands. So as I think about more things to do, getting more involved in the community in town is on my list of things to do. So this one seemed like it was a good match for something I enjoy doing, as well as something I feel like I could bring a skill set to.
So either one of you guys have any questions for us, or does any of the committee members have any questions for these guys?
I don't have a question so much as a comment. I thank you both for stepping forward and putting your names forward. I think it's really important that those who live in the community also participate in the community and be part of it. Since we only have one opening and, essentially it will be one of you, what I would suggest is if the select board doesn't choose you, that you just keep your name moving forward for the next opening. And that's what we did with the last couple. And it seems to have worked out really well. That it'd be nice to have a deep bench of people that remain interested in moving forward in that direction. It's very fruitful to have people with boating experience, as both of you do, and people who have a direct connection to the harbor. I view our role as more ministerial and long-term planning, and it's good to have people who have a connection to that particular part of the town that bring a unique perspective to where we are and where we're going. So thank you both so much. I really appreciate it. The public service is an important thing.
Absolutely.
Thanks, CJ. That was going to be one of my questions. Was I sort of imagine there's an ebb and a flow of membership, and I was going to say if not selected, which is absolutely fine, please keep my name on file, and we'd be happy to think about it in the future. What does the committee? What do you all consider your main priorities at the moment?
I'll continue on, and then I'll be quiet after that. I view our role as to support the harbor master and support the harbor and the tributaries and waterways of Dartmouth as best we can while serving the community. The things that we worked a long time on getting the Dyer's Landing project over the top. Roger Street seems to be coming back up on the radar screen all the time, and in Jamie's concerns of access to the harbor has always been a number one thing that we've been thinking about. How can we get more of the public to enjoy, the beautiful resources that we have in the town? So that's been kind of our near term and a little longer term focus.
And I would add to that, Andrea's not here today, but she and I have both been working diligently. You had mentioned, James, about water quality, and I don't know if you know, and Keith maybe knows too, the town has won a grant with the Coalition of Buzzards Bay, and we're doing monitoring with sensors the water quality of the upper Apponecansit Bay and the tributaries and other bays and estuaries. So we're really very concerned about water quality, and I think that we're getting a good handle on that. And that's a long-term thing. I mean, it's taken a long time for it to get, let's say, bad, and it's going to take a long time for it to get better. So we're actively involved in that. So that's been one of my goals, is to be able to have my granddaughter swim without getting sick in the harbor.
Yeah, it's good to see the effort. I've noticed I'm sure it's part of the project. I live on the Slocum River, so I've seen the buoys out there. Looks like they're doing some testing out there. And then I actually ran into a gentleman last week at the that the landing that was taking water samples in the morning for Buzzards Bay. So yeah, it's good to see that we're on.
Yeah, no, we're actively doing that, James. So I think that
Yep.
we'd love it if whoever comes on board, that becomes a focus as well, because that's going to be a long-term project for the town going forward.
And then there's always just general housekeeping things, helping, evolve the town, the Harbor Master website and the new town mooring site for tracking mooring listings and that kind of stuff, which, is are the bane of Steve's existence, but we're trying to do what we can
I know,
to get
but we drag
so
him
run
kicking
more-
and screaming into the 21st century.
more,
So
more smoothly so that he has,
I knew someone was going to bring up the database sooner or later.
yeah, I know, right? I'm sorry.
uh,
I'm sorry.
there's always that kind of stuff to work through.
But I think as you point out, my observation is the Waterways of Dartmouth and the Waterways Committee has done a great job with getting the town waters more organized. We're working in the direction of making them more healthy. We're getting organized with more moorings. Yes, there's a lot to do. I would agree completely, but we are trying to be more efficient and get ourselves so that, quite honestly, we have a better system that any one of us could be replaced and it still goes forward smoothly. And I love Steve dearly, but if he were to be hit by a bus, we want to make sure that the town could move forward as well. No offense, Steve. We're not hoping you get hit by a bus, but
I thought it would be a jet ski, but a bus will do.
okay, a jet ski.
Like I've
Sometimes
almost
I
been hit
say
by
win the
one of
lottery. Say win the
Yeah, or
lottery.
That's
Yeah,
not me.
you missed
That's not
that.
in my cards.
I think just to comment on the moorings is interesting thing about, growing up here. It's I remember my dad used to have a mooring. However one acquired a mooring back in the day, the idea now that it's such an orderly system, it's an equitable system in terms of a waiting list and you have to wait and all of that. I think that's that presents, I'm sure, all sorts of headaches for Steve and his team. And it's also just another way to make it more equitable in terms of having access to the water. It's not just a family mooring because you happen to be the one who threw an old railroad tie in the water and said, this is now my mooring spot. Not that my dad did that, but.
No, it's a train wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it was a Chevy V8 engine. Yeah, whatever we had lying around.
Yeah, and then we had to make the tough decision as a family. My dad had a mooring right off the fuel dock. And that mooring came up. My brother lives in Marion. At the time, I didn't have a boat. And, you kind of feel bad losing it, but also we weren't using it. So we had a spot that we weren't using that somebody else then gets to use. And you feel bad letting it go. But, it's only the fair thing to do in that case, too. So, definitely understand when you give one up and then somebody else on the list comes up.
Right. Well, that's exactly right, Keith. We tried to make this a very organized, equitable, logical progression of how you get a mooring, what are the rules to be on the harbor and use the harbor. And before it was the wild, wild west, and it was interesting to say the
But
least.
also back then there wasn't the demand that there is now.
No.
I mean, town's grown tremendously, especially along the water area, and it went from unknown to overknown in a very short period of time.
Yeah,
On
and
demand.
that
A
is,
victim of
On
our own
demand.
success.
yeah, we are a victim of expansion. So that's something we have to be aware of because we don't want to kill the golden goose, right? It's a wonderful, beautiful harbor, but we do want to have, as you say, Keith, have it be organized and maintained so that it will sustain for many generations to come.
Well, I want to thank both of you guys for coming and for your interest. You're welcome to hang out, but don't want to keep you because I'm sure you got other stuff going on. But we're gonna go on with our meeting, and we will kind of be back in touch.
All right, I'm going to jump
Thank
off.
you
Thank
both
guys for
very
your time.
much.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Good to meet
See you guys.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody. Thank you both.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Keith.
Bye,
Thank you,
Bye,
James.
Keith.
All right, great candidates, both of them.
Can I ask one question? And I don't remember how we did that procedurally, but we only have one opening, but we're gonna have more openings, because don't forget, we're a staggered board, so. And
Right.
I think I serve till, mid, 27, and then I'm done. And, you know, I'm on the second term, so you can't have a third term. So,
Well, you can.
you can?
They've never, yeah,
You
that's
can.
never been, that's never been,
It's never
Uphill.
Yeah, I
been
think-
pushed, TJ. It's never been
Wait,
pushed.
I was told mine was lifetime. I'm not sure what happened there.
I just remember when I signed up, it was 2 terms.
Yeah.
Well,
We
I'm
lied to you. Anyway, it is true. We should have staggered. And what we did, I wish Eli was here. With Eli, we made him ex officio, if you remember.
I like that. I like doing that. Honestly, it gives us a bench. It brought Eli in right after, and it kept
Yeah.
Andrea interested in it too.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot easier than like, okay, we've had another resignation, or somebody's not upping for their extra term or anything along those lines, and we pretty much somebody that's already been kind of following what's going on.
Right. Right. So if
Okay.
in my mind right now, they're both good gentlemen, having said that, but I would say I'd nominate James to start off the full time, and I'd put Keith as ex officio. That would be just me. That's just me.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, just that background in the marine industry and, kind of that fisherman's,
I liked it from the commercial side that he is out there and he's actually looking at it through the lens of more a commercial enterprise rather than just a pure recreational lens for
Right,
our waterways,
yeah,
which
I think that's
is
good
important.
insight.
It's very important. Yeah, we don't have that, quite honestly.
I think they're both qualified, and I agree with Roger on that. It definitely brings a different element, and however the select board goes, I don't think we can go wrong. And I
Yep.
would really like whoever doesn't get it from them to see if they'll serve in the capacity Eli did before.
Yeah, ex officio or whatever we called it.
I think that's what we called it.
Yeah,
that's
and
what- that's
they
what
went.
the charter does allow the commission to appoint ex officio from time to time, non-voting members. It's in
Right,
the,
non-voting. And the
Can
and
we
the select
appoint
board
that, right, Rod? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Steve. I don't mean to interrupt. There's a little bit of delay on my connection isn't great today. If we put both names up, but we don't really put a name up because they apply anyway themselves. And one gets it and one doesn't, then we just have a vote for the one who doesn't get it, and that we make them an ex officio. Is that how it works, Steve?
yes,
Yeah, that's what we did last time for Eli.
I like doing it that way. They're both qualified candidates. They both bring a little different spin. I agree with it would be nice to have someone who has a more commercial view of the harbor.
Right.
But also both bring something nice to the table.
yeah,
Right.
definitely seems like a win-win.
Yeah, we're
Right.
really happy that honestly, I've served on a lot of boards, and sometimes it's just really hard to find somebody who's even willing to do it, and to find two
Yeah.
people that are qualified to do it is an even better term to bring a little something different than we already have.
Exactly right. So what are the next steps, Steve? Do we send a letter? Does the chair send a letter saying we've interviewed these both men or viable candidates, and whoever you choose, Mr. and Mrs. Select Board, we're happy with that?
yes, or you can send a letter with a recommendation to the select board. It's ultimately their choice, but the commission is allowed to make a recommendation. However you want to word that, it should go through the chair. It could be a recommendation for one candidate over the other, with the understanding that the commission intends to name the
Well, you faded on me,
second
Steve. Sorry.
choice. Second choice would be appointed ex officio, non-voting member of the commission. So that's how it should go.
I'm
Makes sense.
I'm okay on our end sending both names and saying we are going to appoint the other one an ex officio,
Yeah.
and leave it with them. I mean, like I said, it's hard to recommend one over the other. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well,
Yep.
one thing, TJ, the select board is very waffly. They like a recommendation with one or the other. They won't know what to pick.
They don't always. Sometimes they appreciate that. Other times they kind of
Well,
just
Yeah.
don't appreciate being suggested how to go. But we could always inquire. Do you want a recommendation? Do you want the commission finds both qualified. Honestly, if we say that the commission finds both qualified and leave it at that, if they want a recommendation, you can suggest, let us know if you want a recommendation of one over the other. I don't know how else to deal with that.
Okay, are there,
Both are
You're-
qualified.
I think in the past, I think we recommended one and then said we would put the other one as ex officio. So I think we have historically gone in with a recommendation.
we have indeed. And I
Yeah,
think the
and this
select
one's
board
interesting.
appreciates that.
Yeah, this one's interesting. I mean, I'm a fan of both of them. I think it's a
Yep.
great point of Jamie bringing the commercial aspect. Keith, I mean, just knowing him and the fact that his kids are now in college and he wants to put his time and energy somewhere, that's a huge value add. So it's
Okay.
they're both really good.
Yep.
Dana, your thoughts?
So, yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like we should go in with a recommendation personally, and I think the idea of a non-voting, the other person being non-voting. But to be honest, I think there's not a clear. They're both very good candidates, so
Right.
we can't go wrong.
But as I said, I'm tipping the scale a little bit from that commercial lens viewpoint, which we don't have right now, would be, I think, a benefit for the committee at this time.
No, I get that, Roger. I follow your lead on it then. I think both of them will add nicely. And there'll be an opportunity for both to serve.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sooner rather than later, right, TJ?
Roger, don't you get any ideas?
I don't know. That's up to my cardiologist. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't want to think that health is the only way to get off this commission. What did somebody tell me the other day, that everybody that sailed on a certain boat's died?
Oh, God.
All right, can we change the subject? This is
Yeah,
good.
All right, so do we have a motion?
I would like to make a motion that the chair write a letter saying we've interviewed both. They're both great candidates, but our recommendation is James at this time, and then we'll make Keith a non-voting member, which has worked very well for us in the past. Eli came right on board and we didn't skip a beat. So it's a wonderful thing. As TJ was saying, I love depth of bench. There's nothing worse than going, oh shit, I'm here all by myself. So this is a good thing. So that's my motion. That's my motion.
And so just a question on that. So like if we have an ex officio, they can automatically get slotted in, or do we have to kind of go through the process again?
They still need an appointment, but it becomes a lot more easier and it becomes a lot more logical to just slide that person in as the next choice.
Yeah.
It becomes a
As they
strong
did with Eli,
recommendation
yeah.
from the committee at that point, I'd say.
Right.
You
Right.
know.
Do I have a second to that motion?
Andy, did you second it? I'm sorry. There's a delay.
Sure.
There's no discussion. Gonna vote. Roger,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, so unanimously passes, and I will write that letter. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dana.
Next up, going through the town handbook, it actually says that we're supposed to have a clerk. I've talked to Andrea about actually filling that role, since she's been kind of said last time around she would be working on the minutes. She's not here, but I talked to her about her taking on that role. Even
I'll
though
make it
she's
easy. I nominate her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
no,
you go.
you skip a meeting, you get nominated. I'll second TJ's nominating
I
candidate.
did coordinate. All right.
All in favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think someone's got to second it.
Yeah.
unless there's somebody seconded, I couldn't hear it.
All right, all in favor, Roger,
Yes,
Andy,
Yes, yes.
TJ,
Yes,
there you
and I
go.
vote yes. All right.
with gusto.
With
There you
gusto.
go.
That's
Thank you.
excellent.
All right,
Nice.
what can we nominate Eli for?
Yeah.
Ah.
All right. Next on the agenda was the town, the clean water group update. But Andrea's not here. I don't know, Roger, if you have anything there to add. Or
It's
Steve,
it's
you wanna know,
ongoing.
but-
Yeah, they're starting to have meetings. That'll be a slow process, but it is moving forward. So it's all good. So we'll get more detail from Andrea next time.
The only news that I can add is there's some grant that was awarded to study and sample in Clark's Cove. And I've been assured that that is going to build upon and not duplicate all the other testing that's been going on for shellfishing and whatnot. So it's a result of the combined sewer overflow and the impact that it'll have, not just on Clark's Cove, but elsewhere in Dartmouth. So we're in the spotlight, so to speak. I don't mean the Boston Globe spotlight, but we're in the eyes of the people who have money to dole out.
Yeah,
Good.
again, I
And
think
that-
this
and
will be
that's-
good.
And well, that one's through SMAST, and we've kind of
SMAST.
we put Miles, one of their professors, in touch with Andrea to kind of connect with the Clean Water Task Force as well. So hopefully things can move forward together and complement each other.
Yep.
Yeah, good call, Steve. I forgot about that.
Yep. No, as you say, Andy, everybody's working forward on this. They're aware of the sewer overflow. They're aware of clean water. It's difficult in this particular grant funding environment in the lower 48 right now.
Well, we keep moving forward.
Yep, exactly right. So that's that, Dana.
All right, Steve, talk to us about all that housekeeping stuff, the database and the website.
There we go.
That's so near and dear to your heart.
There we go.
We are, we being all of us together are still struggling with the conversion, but I am working as close as I can with Town Hall without putting too much burden on them. The newest request or movement would be to integrate the Harbor Master website into the town site, to take away the need for us to maintain that individually, for us to pay for Post Papa, GoDaddy, and I'm not sure what the other third cost is involved in that. I know that when we started this Harbor Master website, we needed to because the town site wasn't good. I think they have substantially improved the town website. Not anything that I've done, but the new version is user-friendly and it is working for everybody. And quite frankly, it's one less thing that we have got to pay for or worry about if we don't have a freestanding, we're the only department left with a freestanding website.
Right. Yeah, I would agree, Steve. It was a call that we made actually, geez, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we had to do it because there was no real town hall website that was functional.
Nope.
But all that stuff does add up, although I don't think it's huge money, the GoDaddy and
No.
all those things. It's not huge money, but I would agree it's more the pain in the ass factor. You just take it, port it over. Now, question, can town hall do that okay, or do they need help?
Nope, I've been assured that they will be able to assume all of our functions into our presence on the town website.
Okay,
There's a lot going on, so I don't expect this will be done tomorrow. And we are, I believe, paid up through the next year. So I see this integration as, I may be wrong, again, because you know what I know about computers, but this is going to be an ongoing process for the next year with a
Okay.
goal of being part of the town's web presence. And the benefits have been stated that, I have support right there in town hall. We're one and the same, all of that stuff. The ability to customize and have all the features that we have now and then maybe more. Because our existing website was geared to upgrade off of the former database. So we're not
Right.
able to post the current web waiting list for the moorings. And that's
right.
a technical problem that they can't solve, but when it goes to the town website, they will be able to integrate that. So
No,
the
I think it's a
features-
good thing. I was there when, in the beginning, and I think this is a great thing, Steve. Go, go, go.
So that's a news bulletin, I guess. We're in the process of finding out how we create that ever-loving report for excise billing and have it be as accurate as possible from our office standpoint. Last time, we took a lot of gruff because the assessor requested a list of all active boat titles from the state. And there are a lot of boat titles that exist for boats that don't exist anymore. They were crushed in Hurricane Bob. They were sold out of state. Just a host of reasons that had nothing to do with our office. And we have been helping to correct that. And so we're looking to create a report from our new town moorings database that'll show every reportable boat. So it's got to be over a certain size and age that got a waterways use permit from us for this year, this past season, fiscal year 26. What they do with it is out of my hands. And hopefully we will see billing on a more regular, rapid list than what we've seen over the last 3 years. So that's
Good.
a fall
Progress.
project. Yeah, that's our fall project.
Here you go.
We're also looking to upgrade our email addresses. There's a slight problem with town moorings. The only email they've been able to use is smello@town.dartmouth.ma.us. So anytime town mooring sends out a notice or the clerk in my office sends out a notice, when it goes through town moorings, it says Steve Mello sent you a notice. And I've got people hunting me down, following me around town in my truck, trying to find out what's this bill, what's this notice, what, and I got to look at them like, I have no idea what you're talking about. It may be something that was sent from town moorings to update their account. It may be something from the clerk of my office stating that we received your mooring inspection. I don't know, but it's akin, at least in my mind, I know it's not this drastic, that Ray Kroc would get noticed from every person that, complained about a burger. It doesn't work. It needs to have some more precision, and that's only going to be settled by getting a new email address. It might say clerk@Dartmouth Harbor Master or something like that. I want to eliminate the confusion in the boaters' minds that they've got to talk to Steve because Steve sent this email. It doesn't work that way. So that's, again, a minor issue that I'm working with Town Hall on that. And we have, Laurie in my office has established waiting lists for everything now. I don't know that this requires any change in our regulations, but we are going to have a policy that if you want to be considered for a dinghy rack, which are still no vacancy, a dinghy dock space, or a linear float space, we will put you on a waiting list to be assigned, and it will have the same $15 a year fee just to establish the priorities and publish the priorities. Found it was necessary, not so much for the linear float space, but people who needed dinghy accommodations. And what we had been doing is every year, send me an email no sooner than April 1st, and we'll take them in the order of appearance and assign whatever becomes available. That's nice, but that doesn't give someone anything reliable to know that, oh, I'm next on the dinghy list, or I'm at the bottom of the dinghy list, so I'll have to take the commercial one. This will give people a reasonable expectation of what their priority is on that list.
Good, good.
So this is what I've been calling the fine tuning of the database. We are working out the bugs, have been since day one. We are fine tuning it and moving forward. At some point, I anticipate we will pay the outstanding invoice for last year because they are working with us. But until I get the okay that we're satisfied, we're going to keep them. We're moving forward. It's held in a warrant article, so it's there from last year to be paid.
Okay. How has it been a year, Steve?
No, it's been one season, but it was roughly this time last year that we started working on
With them.
downloading the data and it was maybe a month, 11 months ago, but we started with a download of data, and yeah, we haven't been live with town moorings. We started that probably in the late spring, because I know it was right after bills were supposed to be due. So maybe March is when it went live. Then it was pulled back. Then it was reinstated. So it's been a 1-year project with the background work. That's the best way to put it.
But other,
It'll bear fruit at the end.
yeah.
Hopefully it's not the poison fruit that I learned about in school.
Exactly. You know what? As you grew, it's better than it's better than what you had. It's
Yeah.
getting there. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering when they're going to absolutely demand payment for.
Like I said, the money is there. It's been retained. I can't think of the right word, but it's been locked in from our last year budget, identified for payment. We just need to push the go button, and I kind of want to get some clarity from above that
Okay.
now's the time.
Okay.
All right. Then item 7, news and happening on the waterways.
I have been in touch with Patrick from Foth for the installation of the last 2 sets of finger piers that are going to be perpendicular to the existing main dock. The floats have been here all summer. They're stacked neatly in the parking lot. The piles are there, but they are the wrong piles. I've been told that on September 16th, the correct piles are going to be substituted for the shorter ones we received. And I'm working this afternoon with DPW to see if they can have a front loader forklift on standby to make that swap happen. Sometime in October, maybe mid to late October, Cuddy Hunt Marine will be installing the last 2 piles and setting up those floats to make sure they go in the right place. And then it'll be time to take them out of the water. But I was told that it has to be done at this time in that way. So it seems wasteful that we're going to put them in, install them, and then take them right out. But that's the way it's supposed to be done.
Make sure everything fits. Unfortunately, but it does make
No,
sense.
it has to be done this time of year, because if we were to wait till the spring, we would miss the time of year restrictions for the
Right.
mating salamander or whatever it is that has spring break. We have to not disrupt. I keep going back to spring break because it always seems like that's the time of year that we can't do anything out there.
Those frisky flounders.
Yeah. So that's our the finger piers, the marina. That'll be the conclusion of the marina. We have had the sign upgraded. That isn't here, but the back of the sign does have the kudos to community preservation and to the Seaport Economic Council. I photographed that. I sent that off with a request for payment to the sign company for the sign. I think the last thing we got to look at is a replacement plan for the dinghy racks for next season. And the funding that we have in house, if you will, from retained earnings, which has been approved by town meeting. We need to find a builder, a design. How many of them do we want to be dinghy? How many of them do we want to be kayak? And that we have the winter to have that constructed and installed. There is no time of year restriction on the installation of those high and dry. But the demand
Seems like you're getting a lot more dinghy, kayak type paddle board, stand up, those kind of things, as opposed to dinghies per se. Am I wrong? Should we?
No, we are. I think someone that's better at math than me could take a look at how many kayaks are in dinghy spaces and how many people are still looking for kayak spaces, and just simply replace the dinghy racks with kayak trees to reflect the number of kayaks that are actually being used in the dinghy spots. There's no prohibition against it, but
My only worry with that is I think that we should look at it on a yearly basis as to what the demand looks like. Because if we wind up with demand more for dinghies, because there's a lot of people who can't service their moorings without a dinghy, but you can put a kayak in or a paddleboard anytime you want out of the back of your car or the top of your car.
yes.
So, I mean, right now we were experiencing that. what happens if some of the dinghy storage facilities that that are currently probably alleviating the problem go offline on us?
Right.
You know,
It's a
I mean,
tough
which is
balance.
not. I mean, you could have a storm that wipes out 2 sets of dinghy storage areas between the yacht club, South Wharf, and Marshall Marine, and suddenly nobody has any way to get to their boats.
Right. Yep. And I'd also like to explore, while we're looking at the replacement, an alternative similar to the Cuddy Hunk float off the beach, where your dinghy is just tied to a cleat and in the water. And, there are people that would pay a little bit less than the $600 on top of a dry float to keep generally a hard dinghy with bottom paint tied to a float somewhere that they can walk out to it. So,
Well, I
Yeah,
lived that way for 20 years. A
Yeah.
little less than that, but a long time. Painted the
Yeah.
bottom of the dinghy every year and left it in the water and pumped it out of the water when I got down there.
yeah.
so
That
that's
might
an
be a
alternative.
real, a good thing, Steve. That might be a real good thing.
I think that opens some possibilities for dinghy storage that might, again, eliminate some of the need for the rack space. But
Right.
it's just a thought.
Mhm.
It's
a good
fairly
thought.
lucrative thought too. We're one of the only. That's the one thing about our harbor. We're one of the only harbors that really doesn't have a dedicated dinghy area. Even Marion's got that big dinghy area
Yes.
down in front of where the harbor master is.
Yes.
We're one of the only ones that like normally most harbors have a big float area with a lot of dinghies just floating off of it.
Right.
That's what I'm envisioning. Yes. Well, our dinghy's floating off one side of that float, and the
Yeah.
other side open for people to drag their dinghy down and get in from the rack to the float out to deep water and then get in. But
Steve, could we move one of the big big floating docks inland and then bring a set of ramps or floating docks to that? Would that be feasible?
in the far northwest corner of the parking lot, you will see the two floats that had been alongside the pier. They're
Yeah.
serviceable. They actually are not in bad shape, and those are there for that possible purpose. They're 4 feet wide by, I believe it's 30 feet long. It might be 40 total.
Perfect. Perfect.
That's why those have not been given away or broken up or thrown away, because I envision that they might serve as that alone or that with another dock at the end as a T, temporarily tied down with moorings, helix moorings instead of piles to get around any permitting issues. Something that would be high enough on the beach to step up onto it without the need for a fixture on the beach. These are just, loose thoughts running through an otherwise frazzled mind. But
No,
That's a
I
good
think
thought.
they're really good thoughts, to be honest with you, because I think that you could envision a scenario by which this becomes an issue on an immediate basis.
absolutely. And we've
Excellent.
certainly increased, I don't know if anyone's seen it, but the passive recreation for non-boaters has like tenfold increased. People going down those docks. I saw a couple sitting at the end on chairs that they carried down and sat there, and they're just watching. It's grown like you can't imagine. That's the passive, never mind the active. So
If you build it, they will come.
this,
Well, thank you, Steve.
no problem. Dana, do you want to mention anything about the
And
retaining
then,
wall?
sure, then the last item is that we contacted the facilities coordinator for the state fishing and boating access about the deteriorating
Seawall.
seawall there at the boat ramp. And they asked for some pictures, and I haven't heard anything back since they got the pictures, but we did send them photographs of the wall and asked to get on their list for maintenance.
It's corrugated steel, correct, Steve?
Yes,
It's corrugated
yes,
steel.
corrugated steel. On the
That
north
was-
side of that corrugated steel is sand piled up as high as it can be. So there's quite a bit of sand, moisture, salt moisture, pressure on the north side of that corrugated steel. And should that steel fail in any either totally or in part, that sand will find its way onto and across both ramps, rendering them useless. So
I'll have to look into that. I do believe that you can buy corrugated composite material that will
Core 10
not
would have solved,
rust.
right, Core 10 steel would have solved the problem, but I'm sure it
Right.
costs more money. That wall was put in as a temporary cofferdam for the construction of the ramp. And when they were done, they removed all of the cofferdam except for that section that you see there. So that steel was designed to be temporary while construction took place. But when they removed our granite block retaining wall that we really want, that's what they left in its place. So,
Can I ask a silly question? Can they just put the granite back?
I'm sure, again, I'm not the engineer. In my mind, if they dug out back 3 feet north of the corrugated wall and put in a form, they could pump concrete that would become the new load-bearing wall. And if the concrete held back the sand, that corrugated metal could just be there.
Disappear.
Yeah, or stay there and not. Down the Cape, I have noticed that when they build these and they use corrugated, they put concrete on both sides of the corrugated steel, and that encapsulates the steel and makes it look actually attractive. But they didn't do that here.
Okay, and then this is a state-run pier ramp, right? The
Yes,
state's
Correct.
responsible for it, so the public will lose a lot of access if something happens there.
This is
Correct.
their ramp and their project. The pier is ours. The parking lot, the ramps, and everything that makes the ramps work used to be the public access board. It's now fishing and boating access. So I've got to get my alphabet soup lined up. But they're the ones that own this retaining wall, as it is keeping the ramps usable. And it's not hyperbole that if that wall fails, there will be no access down the ramp. It will wash sand clear across from both sides.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So all we gotta do, keep poking them, Steve, I
Yeah.
guess is the thing. It's keep
Yes.
poking them.
or we could reach out to our rep too. You know, that might help also.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Fishing access will, if there's money, they will enjoy a project, but the money normally goes to those communities that have ties to Boston, lack of better description.
Well, I mean, the fishing community is paying for all of this stuff with their fishing licensing. Isn't that what the licensing fee was supposed to do for them? Was
That
to
is
provide them
correct.
access to the ocean?
Yep.
That is
So-
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have not, I was just looking at the date. I sent them that information on the 2nd. Today's only, it's the 9th. But I'll reach out again just to make sure they got the photographs and to see what next steps are.
I would be interested to hear more, like, forget the money part for now. What is the solution? What is the fix for this problem? And then we figure out how much money will that take? And then who do we have to ask for that funding? Where would we stand in line for that funding? So
Yeah.
I think that's the process. Figure out what we're up against, how to fix it, and how much.
Okay.
All right. Item 8, public comment is next. I'm thinking we've got nothing.
Let's see.
So
Public.
our next meeting, right now, it's on the schedule for the 14th. 14th at noon.
October 14th at noon.
That's the
Deanna,
day
I'm
after-
not available for that one.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
TJ, are you available the 16th?
Well, give me 1 second. I got to get into the right calendar. It's not as easy as it used to be.
That is a Columbus Day week.
Yeah.
Uh,
I am available on the 16th. I'm also available the following Tuesday, the 21st.
21st is fine with me.
I'm away on the 21st.
go
I'm
back to
available on the 16th.
just 16th.
I'm fine with 16th also.
I'll be
Okay.
there.
16,
Let's do that
October 16th at noon.
at noon. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I sent out an
Dana's got
email.
homework.
I sent out an email just before this meeting. It's not part of the agenda. It's not for deliberation discussion, but we got our last update on our retained earnings. And I just remind everybody that it's a snapshot. We collect after the fiscal year. I'm sorry, we collect before the end of the fiscal year to make up for a deficit that we have racked up throughout the fiscal year. It's just the cycle they put us on.
Got it.
Okay, so don't spend the money or don't panic either way.
Yeah.
Steve, can I
Don't
ask one
panic.
question? Is the money from the excise taxes finding its way to us yet?
I believe from the first billing, I don't quote me on this, but I'm not sure I've seen a deposit for the second. And it was less than expected, but it may have only been a partial payment. It's very difficult because it's not like we're done collecting and here's what we collected and here's what you get. It's like they give it to us, they continue to collect, we get another drop later maybe, or maybe not. But it's, I look at the end of the fiscal year, what was the total collected and deposited for excise, and it should roughly be about 40,000 for each year. Of course, we didn't have that for 2 years. So this year, we're going to see a huge number for excise, but it's looking back.
Right.
We'd already allocated that in our budget though originally, right? If I
I've
remember
always
correctly.
factored in
Yeah.
that. And what the years we didn't collect it, we were running very lean. The years we're going to collect more than I've budgeted, there'll be a little bit of surplus for that year. It'll go into our retained earnings.
That's great.
That's good news.
All right,
Good.
motion to
Okay.
adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion.
All right,
Second.
all those in favor? Yeah,
All in
second.
favor. Aye.
Yeah.
Aye is bye.